On a train, in a bus, in a car, on the way to your job. All alone with your kids, with your wife, or with your dog. You can listen anywhere, you can listen everywhere, to the Philip Malowney podcast.
Welcome. Here we are at the next installment of the Philip Malowney podcast show. So thank you very much for coming to join me today. I've got a very special guest today. He's a very good friend of mine, one of my more creative friends. His name is Joe Robinson. Joe and I used to work together, and I've always followed him on his antics around his industry through the medium of Facebook. But a couple of things that Joe is very passionate about. He's very passionate about music and playing all sorts of music and attending concerts, etc. But some of his accolades in his DJing has been at Amnesia in Ibiza, Mixmac, Outlook Festival, Glastonbury, Tea Party Festival, Ministry of Sound, Printworks. All of these mean nothing to me, but I know that they are fantastic events and venues, and I'm sure some of you out there would be very interested in getting to know this gentleman a little bit more. So I am joined, and I'm very happy to be joined by Joe Robinson.
Hey Phil, thank you very much. That was a very warm intro. Nice one.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, my friend. My pleasure. How the hell are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, man. Yeah, all good. Busy as ever. Sort of living in strange times, as we all are.
Indeed.
But yeah, I'm good, man. Keeping busy.
Yeah, that's another pound. I alluded to the fact that if we have a sort of COVID conversation, like everybody starts with, in these unprecidented times.
Yeah, every
so
time.
cha-ching, there's another. If I had another pound, right? Yeah. No, it's. I mean, look, it's crazy times. It's crazy times.
That's another pound.
Say it again.
That's another pound. You just said it.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to get the quids in now. Roll up the subscriptions. Yeah. So, I mean, well, how's it going for you there?
Yeah, no, it's all right. I've sort of had like a mad change, really. I mean, I've literally started a new job, sort of in the last couple of months. Which I'm very, very grateful and very lucky to be really in at the moment, because everyone's getting made redundant really, or losing their jobs. Like the unemployment's insane. But actually, I'm probably one of the rare few that COVID kind of threw a lifeline to in a weird situation, because I've landed a job which is something that I've always wanted to do. So I'm now marketing manager at Shogun Audio, which is a independent drum and bass record label. Nice. Based in Brighton, and they have a sister label called Elevate Records, which is still drum and bass but slightly more hard hitting. Okay. And yeah, I've sort of been given quite a high responsibility in the company to take care of all the socials there, all of the marketing campaigns for all of the releases that are coming up, so all of the music across the labels, and I'm working with some amazing artists. So it's cool really, because before that I was working in the land of events in London, which was wicked, and I worked at some amazing venues like Wembley, Brixton Academy, Printworks, lots of sort of smaller clubs as well. But yeah, we threw some amazing parties, mostly all in the world of electronic music. But again, working with some huge artists, and then obviously all the venues closed. So suddenly we were cancelling events left, right, and centre in sort of March, April this year. And I've gone from a place where for 2 years I was promoting over 50 parties a year across London's biggest and best venues, as well as leading the promotion for some of the festivals that they do in London as well. So there's a festival called Southwest 4, which is a 2-day festival on Clapham Common. It attracts about 30,000 a year.
Wow.
And they had some big headliners like Pendulum and Chase and Status and all of these guys. And yeah, man, basically it all just came to a halt, like
Wow.
in March, and it was just like, yeah, unprecedented, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Massive pause button.
yeah, literally. And I mean, aside from that, like I've also been DJing for years in my own time across not just in dance music, but I also do a lot of weddings. I do a lot of corporate parties. I do some private stuff at a restaurant chain called Honest Burger.
Okay. Yeah.
So I do a lot of the music. Well, I was doing a lot of the music there on the Saturdays, and you know, it was also regular income for me, as like secondary income to my normal job. So living in London, you know, it's not cheap, and I was sort of relying on a lot of the income I was getting from DJing to be able to live my life and live a happy life. And yeah, man, it all came to a halt all at once. So I was sort of put on furlough for a couple of months, and then obviously there was no sort of hope for the sort of hospitality world and nightlife sector. So yeah, I lost my job there, and then I had to move from London, like back home to Reading, my hometown. Moved back to parents for a little bit, and literally within a week I started looking online, saw this job come up at a record label, and it was literally like a lifeline. Do you know what I mean? Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a record label that I knew and loved and have looked up to and aspired to be with and work for a long time. And it was amazing. Yeah, got the job, which was wicked.
Mate. So that's fantastic. So that's a beautiful illustration of one door closing and another one opening. I mean, you know, that's not to take anything away from the way that door closed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that was a big, heavy door.
Yeah.
Slamming shut for not just one person, for an entire industry. You know.
Yeah, and I've got lots of friends who are still without jobs, you know, and it's not just the artists and the promoters and the venues, it's all the secondary stuff as well, you know, even taxis and like restaurant owners,
food wagons,
kebab shops, all of that stuff. They're all
taxis,
relying on that
Airbnbs.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Ubers,
that ripple, it spreads far and wide. Far and wide. I mean, yeah. So that's a really interesting time, and it's a really daunting time. Ching, one more there. But like, do you see anything? Do you see anything? I mean, I can't see anything on the horizon at the moment. I mean, I don't know what is going to do. Is anybody making money anywhere in like virtual reality or, you know, any sort of?
So we've basically been adapting our kind of strategy as a label, because obviously we had a lot of events that we were doing with our roster artists at a number of the venues in London and further afield, and all of those are on hold at the moment. So we're now having to do like live streams and stuff like that, you know, from the office is that's the way we've gone, because a lot of labels and a lot of artists and like brands are doing these kind of high-end, elaborate, mad streams with like green screens and stuff and like crazy visuals. Like there were two guys the other day, Wilkinson and Subfocus, who did a back-to-back DJ set from Corfe Castle.
Oh yeah.
And it was incredible. Like they had like a drone flying around, and they had like all these mad light shows going on, and it was amazing. They had loads of people lock into it, you know. But the problem is it gets a bit like competitive, you know. So then everyone's like competing for the online space. Like they're all trying to like throw all of this money at the production, and like there's only so much you can do for like a home screen that you're going to be looking at. Do you know what I mean? And it's difficult because when you go to an event or you go to a festival, which I love doing and I have done since I was young, like what I love about it is that you're creating memories that for me, like I've got so many memories, and they all come up in conversation at various parties, and you know, when you're out again and you relive those memories. But I don't think, like, as exciting it is to watch a live stream, it's not like when you're like later down the line, you're going to be like, oh, do you remember when we all watched that live stream like a few months ago? How sick was that? It's not going to happen. Like, you're not going to remember these things. So it's not the same. Like, it doesn't connect in the same way. So it's really difficult. Like, the way that I see things going is immersive events. So
Okay.
I think there'll be outdoor immersive kind of experiences, probably festivals like the likes of Glastonbury that have these crazy creative teams that put together places like Shangri-La, which is like a kind of dystopian like setting, like a mysterious world where you kind of enter this crazy next level virtual reality thing where there's like cables coming out the walls, and there might be like a plague, and there might have some actors that are walking around and stuff like that.
Right.
But like, it's all outdoors, and you're not enclosed. You're kind of walking around alleyways and lanes and stuff, and there's music playing. And I think that could be the future. That obviously they'll have to watch the numbers and stuff like that to try and ensure that there's space. But I think by doing things like that and having people outside and maybe it's more immersive, like, you could probably still keep the restrictions in, like, until there's a vaccine or whatever. Like,
yeah. So I think that there's always going to be. I mean, that's the beauty of the creative industry, right? They're never short of ideas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at this point, you would like anybody who's not creative has gone, oh shit, stop, right? And then the creative industries are going, right, okay, well, how do we work around this? How do we think this way? How do we think this way? Do you know what I mean? It's like a gyroscopic
you've got to adapt
thought process of like, right, okay, we need to do something immersive. We need to think augmented realities. We need to think about how we can get like one person having that as close to as possible, that experience.
But do you know what the hardest thing about all this is, right? Is that if there's limits on restrictions of how many people can be in there, then it's so hard for these things to be profitable when the costs that go into throwing like an immersive event are like astronomical. Like, and people don't get that, like the cost behind the scenes for the production and to pay the wages of the staff and like the rig workers and the lights and the sound hire and everything to get it like bang on right, and even the promotion, the artwork and everything that goes into promoting this stuff, to then only be able to sell like maybe 200 tickets in a 1,000 capacity arena. It's like really hard to actually fathom how that can be sustainable. Do you know what I mean? And that's where
and that's where I think the answer to that is it's going to either make it like elitist, or it's just going to make it like undoable. You can't be going. I mean, I winced when I bought a microphone, right, to set up my little podcast to chat to people, right?
Yeah, man, the costs are mad.
So I'm like, well, the costs weren't mad for this. I tell you, hello.
No, but you know what the thing is, like a whole nother conversation, right, to this, which I think is probably like on the verge of happening quite soon, is a massive outbreak of illegal raves. Because what's happening is people are getting very, very itchy feet, and they're feeling like they've been locked up for too long. They're getting bored. Like, the restrictions are really starting to get into some people, and I'm starting to see big artists now going out on their socials saying, you think the Summer of Love in the 60s was big, like this is going to be next level, because the music scene's so much bigger now. And if you're trying to kind of prevent us from actually being able to have a life and do what keeps us going, it's affecting a lot of people's mental health, man. Like, a lot of people look to go to events for their release. Do you know what I mean? And I think I've seen a lot of illegal stuff happening already, just like little parties popping up in basements and warehouses in London and in Bristol as well and stuff like that. So it's happening already. But
I mean, a lot of people work so hard. I mean, it was driven into them, right? You do your work, you get your head down, you knuckle down, and then do you know what? You blow out on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Like, you deserve it, you go for it. And now it's kind of you just got to work hard.
That's it.
And if you
then
don't, and if you do anything other than just work hard, you're likely to kill your grandparents, right? And you're like, well, that's a bit of a guilt trip. Do you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, you're like sitting on the naughty step, going, oh, I can't go out, I can't rave. I mean, we know what it's about, right? It's about the virus. They want to deal with the virus and I get it, and get rid of it, and then But there are human burning desires to rave, to party, to let loose, to interact with other people,
just to sort of meet up with their friends, I think, and be in a place where there's a bit of music and have that release. That was, I mean, and also it's such a huge part of British culture. Do you know what I mean? Like, think how big like the UK music scene is, and how much of an export we contribute to the world of music. Like, UK music industry is huge, and like, I don't know, man, it's just like, it's almost like the government are just preventing it. Like, it's like they're stopping us from having our fun. Like, it's crazy.
That is definitely happening. The government has said no. So
Rishi's saying retrain. Do you know what I mean? He's saying anyone that's creative, you just got to retrain.
That hit a lot of spots. That wasn't even like a just bear with us. That's
It's like, actually, no.
Let's drop it.
Yeah. Don't worry about like what you've already given up your job in the corporate world to go and follow your dreams doing.
I see Goldie's already made a little.
I was gonna say
step towards that, right?
Insane. Yeah, it's brilliant, mate. It is bang on. Yeah, it is fucking wicked. Yeah, man.
Let's take it back because I like to do this, right?
Go on,
I like to do this. So, okay, those are things we that will iron themselves out, and people will do whatever they need to, right? But now tell me about this young man in front of me, because when I first met you, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we were working at a mutual company, and when I first met you, I remember the thing that sort of like made me go, really? Okay, all right, fine. Was I came over to you for something. I can't remember what it was. All right. And I went, hey, are you Joe or something like that? And you just nipped up and you went, all right, mate. Like that. And I was like, what do you mean, all right, mate? This is like a professional establishment. And you were like going, all right, mate. And then a bit of me was kind of like, And then another bit of me was like, all right. I like this guy. Do you know what I mean? He's just man. Yep. All right, mate. Okay.
How you doing? I've always just been straight up, mate. Yeah,
and I love that about you. So I want to know more about this guy. All right. I want to know more about that. And you can take it back to wherever you need to take it back to. But I want to tell me about like your influences. Tell me about the people around you, your family.
Yeah. Cool.
What it was like growing up and stuff like that. Who gave you your first digs and made you see the light or what have you. Anything like that.
All right, sweet. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I've had a bit of a mad life, really. Like, in terms of I guess I've kind of really like been majorly influenced by my brothers. Massive.
Oh, how many brothers have you got?
So I've got 5 brothers.
5 brothers.
5 brothers, no sisters, right?
You've got 5 brothers.
Yeah, 5 brothers, all older than me.
So there's 6 of you.
There's 6 of us, yeah.
Okay.
And so 3 of them are half brothers on my dad's side.
Yep.
My dad is a lot older than a lot of my friends' dads. My dad is 84.
Nice, right?
I'm 30, so
yeah.
He's 80, right? And yeah, like.
So he's swinging it around like Mick Jagger.
Yeah. That's it, man. He's still going strong, Yeah. He's actually out.
The other kids now.
He's in a care home now, actually, but he's doing okay. Like, he's good. But he had a bit of a turn like last year, and his health deteriorated a bit. He was living an amazing life for like 10 years. He kind of went out to Spain. He broke up with my mum when I was 11. I was 11 years old. My mum actually decided she was gay.
Right.
So that's an interesting topic. Yeah. I know, yeah. I mean, that's a huge story. We could go on for hours there.
Yeah,
But you know, it's cool. We all kind of it was a big thing for us.
COVID's nothing to you. If you want to change,
Trust me, mate.
if you want
Bring on
to,
COVID.
so COVID, right? Okay, yeah. My mum's told me she's gay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. What COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it was huge, right? So I was 11 years old, bruv,
Okay.
in year 6 of primary school, right? And my mum came out as gay, and it was like I didn't really know what the fuck that was back then. And also, it was at a point where, what year was that? Was that like 2001? I think. Yeah, 2001. So like 19 years ago. And back then, like there was a lot of like still gay people about, and it was still kind of welcomed, but nowhere near what it is now.
No.
Right? It was very different. Even 20 years ago, it was still looked upon by a lot of people as being a bit like, what, they're gay, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't quite as well welcomed and received. Like,
it was a different type of movement.
Exactly.
Now it's a like totally different type of movement.
Completely, yeah. We live in a much better, equal world now, which is far greater for everyone, right? But like back then, it was different. So it was a shock. It was like, fucking hell, have you heard like that his mum's like gay? Do you know what I mean? So it was a bit.
And you're 11 at this point.
I was 11, yeah. So going into secondary school, I started secondary school, and I of course I had a few people that were going, shut up, mate, your mum's gay. Do you know what I mean? And all that stuff. Like you did get the odd person, like. So we got a little bit
at 11. I mean, you can forgive them for that, like to a degree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm just gonna duck down here a second. Nothing's dodgy's going on. You keep talking.
What's going on?
I'm plugging in my heater.
Oh, okay, yeah. Has it got a chill on? You're just getting another beer, aren't you, mate?
I will be in a bit, yeah. Okay, I'm keeping that in. Joe, good, right.
Sorry, man, where were we?
Well, your mum's gay.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so we, you know, obviously I got a bit of stick for that, and like it was all good, like not loads. Do you know what I mean? I don't consider I was like had a bad upbringing because of it or anything like that. But there's just a couple of prods, and obviously it helped having like older brothers, right?
Yeah, of course.
So you know, there was a few points where they'd like get involved, and then it would all be squared out, and it was cool. But like, yeah, as I got older and stuff, like, you know, we all welcomed it, and we all got on with my mum's partner, and they're now married and together and stuff, and I lived with them for a number of years, and I looked up to her as like a second mum, really. Do you know what I mean? It was all cool. And my dad shortly after moved out to Spain, so he had like probably he's been over there like 15 years,
right?
I think. And sorry, excuse me. And he's like he was there sort of living in a cave house, which was really nice, in a place called Castril, which is near Malaga.
Okay.
Beautiful area, and you know, we had some amazing holidays out there, which was great. But yeah, so since then, I don't really know how to take this now. Like.
No. Okay, well, yeah, no. Listen, I understand, but go. So go back. So aside, you know, parallel to, you know, that sort of bombshell that dropped on you when you were 11 or what have you. You know, what did you like? Did you like football? Did you like sports? Did you?
Oh, mate, you know what? I was purely into music.
Yeah.
Purely straight music. So I was just bang on going to festivals, going to concerts, like. And this.
Why were you into music? Why? What happened? There must be a little sort of like who played you that song that you would have listened to and gone,
well, that's what I mean. So that's kind of where I was going. So because all that shit was going on with my mum and dad, right, I was like lost as like an 11, 12-year-old, and I was just like, I just want to chill with my brothers. Now, the 3 older half brothers, they all lived with their other halves and had kids and moved on. So I just had my like immediate brothers from my mum and dad, Matt and Tim, who are 5 years older than me and 3 years older than me. So I was hanging out with them, right, going to all these parties as like a 12, 13-year-old, doing lots of stuff that I definitely shouldn't have been doing as a 12, 13-year-old, right? And like, yeah, and coming back home to my parents' house and like being sick and stuff, like, and you know, it was just like I was kind of like just getting like dragged out to all these parties. But I loved it, absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. I was like, I want a taste of that. Like, and we were going to a lot of under 18 nights that were in Reading, right, where I grew up. Like,
Daytimers.
Huh?
Were they kind of daytimers?
No, man, it was like,
No? Oh,
they were like 10 p.m. finish, right?
okay.
But it was still people like, I went to see Romeo of So Solid Crew. Yeah. Right, so I got the whole like, 2 multiplied by 10 plus 1, Romeo done, right?
Yes.
All of that stuff, yeah.
Staples.
And I was like 16, mate, like with a load of mates, absolutely loving it. And as I grew older, I was just going to more and more of these. And because I lived in Reading, this was a big major influence actually that we haven't touched on. So because I lived in Reading, there were 2 huge festivals that happened about 10 minutes from my house. One was obviously Reading Festival, right? Which has been, synonymous with Reading. Like, it's put Reading on the map, really, because the football club definitely haven't. Like, so, like, do you know what I mean? But so, and I've not really been into.
I don't know. Costco's pretty popular.
Yeah, true. Got an IKEA now. But like, like I've never massively been into football really, or sport in general, mate. I've followed it a little bit, and I've been to a couple of games at the Reading Stadium, but I was always just like music. I'm quite into films. I'm into food and stuff like that.
Yeah, Reading Festival. What was the other one?
WOMAD.
What? Oh, okay.
WOMAD.
Right.
So World of Music and Dance, which was
wicked.
actually
Heard of that.
That was my preferred festival, and with WOMAD you could get in free if you were under 11, I think. So we pushed the boat out on that and dragged that out till I was about 14, right?
Yeah.
Like literally, like yeah, exactly. Like, going in there, like trying to like shrink down and stuff. Like, But like it worked, man. We got away with it till we were about 14, and then we started jumping the fence a little bit and stuff like that. But
I have no doubt that you did whatever you could to get to that music.
Yeah, we loved it, mate, and I had to. I mean, I did pay a lot at the time. To be fair, I think I jumped the fence 1 year, but like, as soon as I kind of had a taste of it, I was like, I've just got to go every year, and I started going with my brothers, and then as I got older, I started going with my own group of mates, and it kind of grew from there, mate. Like, and as I got a taste for it, it was like, because I've done Reading and WOMAD now 5 years running, I kind of want to go and expand that and explore other festivals. So I started going to other festivals. I went to like this one called Hi-Fi and Homelands that was in Matterley Bowl in Winchester, which is now where a big festival called Boomtown is held. But it started off as Homelands and Hi-Fi, and I went to see some really old, like people like the Streets and Audio Bullies and all this kind of breakbeat old stuff, but LCD Sound System and Chemical Brothers, like all of that stuff. I was really into it, and like I was also going to a lot of standalone concerts with my brother and his girlfriend at like Brixton Academy. So I was going to see people like Moby, and like bands as well, like Muse, Radiohead, Blur. So I was just going to all of these concerts, and it was just a relentless hobby, mate. I was just saving up all my money, and then the summer would come, and every year I would try and do more and more festivals,
Yeah.
And then I started doing some international festivals, and when I hit about 14, I got my first set of decks as well, my own DJ decks. So I started DJing as well, and then I've always been like a massive workaholic, like purely because I just love earning money. And the reason I love earning money is because, as we said earlier, like all of this music stuff costs shitloads, right?
Yeah.
So I've just like had to get like countless jobs to be able to fund this crazy expensive hobby that I've got, and my love for music. So over time I started buying my own equipment as well. So I got my first set of Technics 1210s and started growing a bit of vinyl, and used to love going out to record shops. I used to spend a day going to Camden and like checking out all of these random record shops, proper crate digging. And like,
got any jungle, mate?
Yeah, exactly. Any jungling guy? Yeah, I got the Tarzan and Jada jungle just swinging off the vine, mate.
Swinging off the vine. Yeah.
Exactly. That was me, bro. I was going in like on the hunt for like jungle and garage and all that stuff. And yeah, man, like I started got my own speakers, and then I started doing my own few parties, and I did a few birthdays and weddings and functions and things like that. So I was started to actually make a living out of it as well, whilst juggling lots of different jobs at restaurants, and worked the Waitrose for a bit, and did some landscaping and labouring with a few friends and stuff like that, and never really had like what you could call a real job, until I was like sort of 18 and started working with you, and like, yeah, man, I just kind of grew, my love for it just grew. I carried on going to more festivals, and then when I got to about 16, 17, I thought, do you know what, I kind of want to turn this into a thing. And I finished school. I was like, didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I just got a job. Oh, sorry, no, that's a lie. I didn't get a job. I went to college. I did go to college. I went to a college in London at 17 called Point Blank.
Okay.
Which
Was
was
that a specialist college?
It was, mate. Yeah, it was like a specialist music college. I got quite lucky when I was younger. When I was 7 years old, I won a shitload of money on premium bonds. like 25 grand's worth.
Ah, boom.
Yeah, so I was like, and I didn't get told about that till I was like 15.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, right, and it was all thanks to my godmother, God bless her. So she got me some premium bonds, like £100 worth, as like a christening present, and I think when I was 7 years old or something, like a load of numbers came in, and I got like third prize, and
because its top prize is $1 million, right?
That's it, yeah. And like they all kind of agreed between them that it would be used either for a house or education, and I started like
music festivals.
yeah, literally just funding my love for festivals. if only, mate. I would have had a hell of a lot better time, I'll tell you that. But yeah, so I kind of just like decided that I didn't enjoy sixth form. Like I was quite hungry to try and do it, so I went for these like big ambitious subjects like physics, because I was like wanted to get into the sound waves and all that stuff, like.
Okay.
And I was like, right, I'll do some physics, and I also I love people, so I wanted to do psychology. Like I'm quite into how the human mind works and stuff. Like I did a bit of psychology, and then I did music tech and sociology, and the only one I was doing well at was music tech.
Right.
So they sort of sat me down and said, look, have you thought about maybe going to college and doing a course like a diploma in music or something like that? Because I don't know if the A levels are the best route. And that's when I had the sit down, with the fam, and we sort of said like, right, well, you've got this money. Do you know what I mean? Like you could look into like doing a bespoke course, and we could look at maybe a really good one, and you could follow your dream in music. And I went to London with my mum, and we looked at like, I was like 16, and we went exploring in like Hackney, like Brixton, like with like me and my mum. Do you know what I mean? It was like,
yeah,
I was pretty shook up. Do you know what I mean? I was like,
okay,
don't know about this. Like little old me walking around with my mum, like
from Reading.
Yeah, from Reading, like walking through all these areas in London, thinking with like warehouses with smashed up windows and like a couple of syringes on the floor outside. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, but like, I went for it, mate. I found this one in Hackney, and we sort of, I sort of like gave myself a kick up the arse and said, no, I've got to do this. Like, I'm going to go for it. So I commuted for like 2 years, and I went and did this course, met some amazing people, and got a diploma in music production and sound engineering, and started making a few tunes and stuff. And the problem is, when I came out of all that, like there was no job as a music producer, so I had to just kind of juggle a few sales jobs and like recruitment things and like this sort of more corporate stuff just to like fund my life, as I said. And meanwhile, I was kind of running my own brand and building my own events brand. Started doing a few club nights,
which is called
New Base Order.
I love it.
Yeah. So that launched in 2012.
Okay. And what's the primary function of New Base Order?
So it started as an avenue for us to be able to sort of amalgamate live events, production, DJ management, so managing a roster of DJs, and sort of throwing parties really, and so collaborating with festivals to be able to do like takeovers and showcases and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And we started kind of just me and my friend from school, just a guy who I met on my first day of school, actually, like at secondary school, like, and we were sat next to each other in register order because my surname's Robinson, his surname's Reed,
Right.
and we were sat next to each other. And he's a black guy. He's like, his whole family are from Jamaica originally, right? So he's like well musical, got a well musical background. And we were sat next to each other, and like out of nowhere throughout the day, on the first day, we started like drumming with pens and stuff.
Okay.
On the table, and like it was day one, mate, of school, and we were just sort of like, we had a little vibe going, and we were like, okay,
this is it.
Yeah, I think this guy's got something, and that was it, man. We just became best mates really through school and started like making tunes together. And like when we were in music lessons, we were straight on the production and wanted to sort of like play around on the keyboard and drums and stuff. He was a drummer. He played in like a still band, which was great. And I was like sort of on the keys and stuff like that. So we started playing around with some tunes together. And that's kind of how New Base Order grew. We sort of grew it together. And there was a bar in Reading called Bar Iguana. Tiny little place.
Okay, yeah, I think I've
You know,
I think I might have popped into that Bar Iguana. It rings a bell actually in
it's
Reading.
like above the chicken shop, right? And it was just an absolute pilgrimage of Reading. It's like it was just so essential to any kind of new DJ or anyone, not just DJs, like live stuff as well. So like there was a lot of bands that played there and vocalists, singer-songwriter types as well. But it was the first kind of place where you could go to see new underground DJs. It was the only place in Reading probably at that time beginning like the underground stuff. So there's so many bars that are all the commercial usual stuff, and it's just like standard DJs playing commercial music. Or
So what sort of year are we talking?
this was 2012.
Okay.
2012, and they'd been an establishment for like probably 10 to 15 years before we were there. So I kind of knew about them from my brothers and stuff, and I knew that it was a place where you could go and see some really cool DJs. And
see, in my head,
yeah.
I'm thinking that rings a bell. I'm sure I've been there, but I haven't been there.
No.
I've seen you there on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I've seen you at the DJ set with the rooms going that way.
That's it, mate.
And the people are going wild. You got an MC going, maybe a bar around the corner on that side or something like that. And I'm thinking I'm there. I'm thinking I've been there. I'm like, yeah, Iguanas, yeah, in Reading.
There you go.
I haven't been there. I've been there with you on Facebook.
Yeah, so that's where it all started, man. And there was a guy called Ali, got a big up Ali Scott, who was like the guy who, he was the only one that was just like throwing these lifelines out to people. He was just giving people a chance, you know. He was like, yes, mate, you can come and do a night. Like, yes, you can come and DJ here. Do you want to run a night? And we were like, are you sure? We've never done that before. And he was like, yeah, you guys are pretty cool. You've got a vibe going about you. Like, you seem quite hungry. I'll give you 10% of the bar of like however many people you get in. And we were like, okay, let's give it a go. So we started this night, and this was while I had my sales job, you know, and we were sort of juggling the promotion of this night. So we were quickly on the hustle to try and get like a designer together and get a bit of artwork out and try and lock in some DJs and get an MC and all this stuff. And we launched the night. We called it Racket in the Attic because it's above the chicken shop.
Yeah.
So we called it Racket in the Attic. The design was like, we found like a really old photo online of this like elderly lady in her like in an old armchair in her room, and she's got a broom and she's like hitting this.
Okay.
So we used that, and we got a little clip art together and had all the artists and stuff. And yeah, like it smashed it, mate. Like we announced it. We only had about 2 weeks promo, and it was free entry, so we didn't sell any tickets, but
10% of the bar.
Yeah, we got 10% of the bar, and it was absolutely heaving. Like, I mean, heaving. I say that you could probably hold about 100 people, but like, 100 people in there was wicked. It was like a proper party, and like for me, I prefer that vibe anyway. I like the little intimate ones, so it was sick. And
everyone's engaged, right? Everyone's engaged.
Yeah, that's it. Like, and it feels more personal. So that was the start of it, man. And we followed that up swiftly with a Halloween special called Rave from the Grave.
Okay.
And that, I mean, we never knew it, but that became the most powerful brand that we did as New Base Order. Like, Rave from the Grave became like a really successful annual Halloween special in Reading. And I mean, most people in Reading would say we dominated the Halloween night with, like,
because everybody wants to rave from the grave, right? At Halloween.
That's it.
That's what you want to do.
And we just got it bigger and bigger. We sort of like, we took it to like bigger venues. We started at Iguana, and then we grew and we took it to Face Bar. We did a little thing at Face Bar, and then we sold that out. We took it to Sub 89 on Broad Street, and then we did a 2-floor special, and we had 800 people there. And then we took it to another bar which used to be called Club Mango, Bar Mango.
Okay.
Which was really famous back in the day. We did a few there, and the last one we did was 2019 when things were normal, and that was a really big one. And it would have been Rave from the Grave 8 this weekend. Yeah.
The rave is now in the grave.
Yeah, exactly. COVID has sabotaged the rave.
Sucks, man. That absolutely sucks.
Yeah, boy. So I mean, that's kind of the story of that anyway, of NBO, New Base Order. But I mean, that's just the event side. Along the way, I've kind of picked up and managed and mentored and grown the brand with a load of DJs. So we've got like 10 DJs now on board and 2 MCs. And they're now sort of all over the place. Some are in Bristol, some are in Reading, some are up north, which is cool. So anytime when events are on and they're happening, like, obviously we all come together, which is great. We have a little reunion. We've actually just been asked to do a night on the 7th of November at Purple Turtle. Little plug there.
Okay.
Yeah, which is cool. I got asked last week.
Shit, I've got to get this out by the 7th of November.
Yeah,
we're definitely doing that. Listen, you're going to give me all like the hashtags and things like that I need once this hits YouTube and Spotify and that. Yeah, so everybody can.
Yeah, man.
Everybody can get into that.
Definitely, yeah. So that's going to happen. Which is nice. They reached
what's
out.
The gig on the 7th?
It's going to be like a sit-down thing,
Okay.
So it's all safe and secure. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool that that's happening. Like, I mean, I'm massively hectic with all the label stuff now, at Shogun.
Yeah. What have they got going on? Have they got anything exciting happening?
Loads, mate. Yeah.
Artists and things. I just love, like, for me, drum and bass was called jungle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, for me, and growing up, the 94 remix and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, man.
Drum pound sound and all that.
Yes, mate. Yeah, that's the original stuff.
That was just like, it's such a beautiful time of my life. Me and my mates, and everyone's just sort of waiting for the drop, and it was such a new thing for like a real London sound for the listening to jungle, and then it sort of mellowed out into drum and bass, which was a good thing because it was just too much, and when I listen back to it now, the production values are just like, I'm like, did I even, do you know what I mean? It's like watching Thundercats now. You can't what?
Yeah, I know.
But all you knew is Lion-O could just lift up his sword and look through it and see stuff, man. And that was the coolest thing about it. But yeah, jungle back in the day, it was, oh my God.
I wish I was about to like go to some of those parties, in sort of 1989 and like
one day some of the kids from the neighborhood carried my mother's groceries all the way home.
No way.
Yeah, we saw him do a live, him with Shy FX.
Yeah,
UK Apache with Shy FX in Hammersmith Palais before it closed down.
Did you?
Yeah.
You know UK Apache's back, like, touring again.
Is he? What's he doing now? Is he dropping some?
Yeah, he's just doing like, because basically Original Nutter got brought back out again by Chase and Status. So
I think I might have seen something about that.
yeah, so they did a remix with like a new artist called Ira, who's
Right.
and it's just much heavier basically. So UK Apache's now been blown up again, and he's back doing all these tours. So he's loving it, or was. Yeah.
I'd like to hear that, Joe.
Yeah, man.
I got goosebumps, bro.
It's sick. It's sick.
A heavier version, right? Yeah. Okay, because that drops.
I know. The new one's wicked. But yeah, so the labels I work for, they're slightly different, man. It's more Shogun Audio's predominantly more like a liquid kind of label, which is slightly more soulful. So soulful melodic kind of stuff, more pads. It's the sort of stuff that you could probably put on at a barbecue and sort of get away with without your mum sort of going, what's that blaring out?
Yeah, you know?
Whereas Elevate Records, the sister label, is what's called like dance floor drum and bass. So it's a bit more heavy. It's stuff for the dance floor, essentially. It's more upfront stuff, you know. But there's loads of music coming out, man. Yeah, there's a couple of albums from some big artists coming next year, which are great. And there's some new signings as well. They focus a lot on sort of some of the newer artists in drum and bass as well. Mm-hmm. So it's cool, man. Yeah, and they've got a big output. Do you know what I mean? So there's a hell of a lot of music. Like, keeps me busy.
Yeah,
which is sweet.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah,
that's exactly, you know, having had the sort of, you know, the run of what's been going on and all the rest of it, for you to be able to like drop into that and just stick. For me, doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
You know, my other half says, it just goes, you're alive again, Phil. You know, you've got another. You. I can see it in you. Do you know what I mean? You're like you're firing, you're sparking again. You know, so it's like I can only imagine for someone like you to just go back into that. You know, you just sort of all of a sudden, no matter how tired you were, you got something that you've got all the energy you need to have for it. You know, so
mate,
you can just like
the thing is, bro, I was, you know, like without dwelling on it too much, because I'm not like, I don't think I've been affected in a negative way here at all, right? But there was a point where I was kind of, obviously I lost the job in kind of March, April, the promotions job in London. Yeah. And I was living in Brixton still for 3 months. And I was living with 2 other housemates who were still working from home. So for 3 months, right, I was, because of my job, there was nothing to do. Even when I was on the furlough thing, there was very little for me to do other than like gardening and cooking. Right, and going on walks around London. So it was great for me to explore. Like, I really got to like see the heart of Brixton, which was great actually. Yeah. Although it was kind of like I was just connecting to it and then I had to leave. But like, you know, I was kind of like exploring, and it was sick. And then it got to a point about 2 or 3 months in, sort of like May, where I started to notice like I was just a bit tired for no reason, and I was becoming slightly less sociable as well. I mean, even I say sociable, I just mean I wasn't ringing so many people, and I wasn't like having as many Zoom calls and stuff with people. Do you know what I mean? Because it starts to tire a little bit, and you just get a bit like
knocked down.
Yeah, and I was kind of doing my own thing. I was just like probably like sleeping a bit more, and you know, like spending a bit more time like going for a walk, doing nothing. And so then to then go like and try and find your spark, it's very hard unless you have something of significance happen in your life, right? So this was like bang, like sparked me right up, and I was like literally. And it was a proper fast turnaround. It was like from interview to job offer, it was like 2 days.
Yeah. Well, when you know, right? You know, that exactly. It goes for employers, it goes for love, it goes for everything, right? When you know, you know.
That's it, mate. Yeah, and it was a nice little connection. We got on really well. I'd kind of worked with the guys before on some other stuff, which helps. But you know, I had a lot to bring to the role. I've still got a lot to learn as well in the label, because like, it's different. Do you know what I mean? And I'm spinning a lot more plates now in a label, because they have so many more things going on. Do you know what I mean? It's not just music. There's merchandise angles, and you've got to be a lot more creative because there's a lot of different artists, and it's not like the same like template for each. You know what I mean? Everything's different. You've got to write a whole new plan depending on that artist audience and how you're going to connect with them and how they are creatively, and some stuff might not work for them. They might not be sociable characters, and then you might have to use other angles like animations and stuff if they're not good at talking to people, like which certain creatives aren't. Then you've got to use other ways of trying to connect with people and get music out there. And one of the difficulties at the moment is a huge tool for labels and artists is being able to show videos online and social media of their tunes being dropped at concerts and festivals by other artists, right? And a huge crowd reaction and everyone going, oh, like that does wonders for music, right? And it drives people to go and check the tune out and find out, what was that tune? Like, have you seen that tune that guy played and stuff like that? We haven't got that at the moment. Like, all you've got is live streams. So
how many likes did it get? How many views did it get? How many?
So you've got to be even more creative about how you can actually promote that music once it's out. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's cool, man. It gets you thinking. It just it means you can, I'm constantly on my fucking toes having to think of like new ways. So it's cool. Every day is different, which is wicked.
That sounds like a bloody big challenge, mate. A bloody big challenge. I wanted to reminisce about this one thing again on Facebook, because much of our relationship has been through me observing you through Facebook, those little updates and stuff like that. And I don't really do Instagram. I'll probably do more Instagram now and stuff like that. I love that we're talking today, bro. Honestly,
me too.
For me, that's fantastic. But what I wanted to do is, there was one where you were like, I don't know, something like, I got 5 hours to get there or whatever, and I'm getting on a train, and I think you were going to somewhere like Finland or Spain or something. You were traveling somewhere on a train to rave, and that was your sole mission. But I remember just seeing a few snapshots, and then I remember seeing like later on that night or so, or a few hours later or whatever, you just held your camera up, and there's this incredible sort of sea of people with the lights of the stage or what have you, and then all of a sudden you capture this moment where it just pumps, and then I remember sitting there going, that's wicked. I wish I made it there. I wish I was right there. What was that? You remember it, right? You know what I'm talking about?
So it was Outlook Festival, which is that one there.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's in Croatia, right?
Croatia.
Yeah, in a place called Pula, which is one of the only places in Europe that still has a used Roman amphitheater, like a massive Colosseum, and they still have concerts in there, right? And this festival have an opening ceremony there, and they had Pharaoh Monch, who performed Simon Says,
right?
You know that tune, bum 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 bum, dun 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 dun.
Okay. Oh yeah. Of course, yeah.
So he came out.
The hell up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Throw your hands in the sky. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, love it. I'm not gonna do it because I'm just gonna be like, people are gonna go, "What?"
Yeah, I know.
What's that old fart?
That's all I had to say, and I know that you've got it right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, got it.
So
available now.
Yeah, I know you really want to do it as well.
Come on.
Right, so he came out with a full orchestra, right? And it was like a massive orchestra played this thing, and then he just came out like rapping, and it was proper goosebump moments, man. Like one of the biggest and best kind of concert experiences I've ever had, because it was just amazing settings in this amphitheater looking over the whole of Pula, with one of the greatest rappers of all time over from America performing with an orchestra. Like, it was just incredible. And there was so many people there, and basically I've been there 3 or 4 years. The first year I went just as a punter and had an incredible time, and the second year I actually managed to get a partnership with them. So we did a launch party in Reading, which went really well. We booked some of the artists that were playing at the festival, helped promote the festival. We got free tickets to go. We got to play at the festival, which was great. So I actually performed there, and that's been an ongoing relationship now for 3 years, which is wicked. So on one of the years that I was going there, I'm terrible for this, right? I was just like flapping away, trying to get all my stuff packed. You know how it is, right? The night before, like. But as a DJ, you've also, as well as your packing, you've got to organise your tunes on your USB sticks and make sure that they're all ready. And have you got your best mixes? Have you got any jingles that you're going to drop in from MCs? Have you got everything together? Like, so I was trying to organise it all, and I just left the house way too late, and like shot to the airport, right? And I really thought I could make it, man. I was like gunning it down the motorway, you know, like I've got to make this, like. I'm performing at the festival, so like I'm like I've got to make it. And I was on my way. I think I was flying from Luton as well, which is quite far from Reading.
Yeah.
And anyway, got there, missed the flight, right? It was shut, like, and I had like a long stay car park as well, so it was like, you know, you had to get the bus and all that stuff, and it was just a nightmare. And I got into the airport, and obviously there were quite a lot of people from around the area who were also going to the same festival. So I was there in the morning, and like obviously everyone's having the mandatory airport pint, right, in the pub. And I was having a chat with a couple of other sort of like younger people who were going there, and they were all sort of like, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I've missed the flight." And they were like, there's still flights available because our friend's missed his and he's had to just go and book another one. So I went and checked, and there were no flights to Pula, which was where I needed to go, but there was a flight to Stinjan, which is about a 3-hour drive from Pula.
Right.
And I was like, this is the only way that it's going to work, man. I can't not go. So anyway, I had to pay like another 60 quid or something like that, and like jumped on the flight. There was a few people that were going to the festival, so I'm on my own, like on this flight, feeling a bit crappy because I've missed mine, and
I need a lift.
Yeah, and I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know. I still don't know how I'm going to get from Stinjan to Pula. Like, so I was like, this is terrible. And I think that's when I posted. I was like, I missed my flight.
And that was it. I got like certain amount. I remember like feeling a bit of an intensity about it. It was like I got
crazy.
This,
you saw that, yeah.
Got this mission that I'm on. I was there with you, man. I was like,
mate.
I mean, even though I kind of like did the whole, you know, 20s thing of just going through Facebook and going ding ding ding, but I hit it and I was like, oh, okay, Joe's got a little mission that he's on. Do you know what I mean? He's got a little adventure.
That's happening. I was on it, bro. I needed to make it. So
that was that, right?
That was it, mate. And then like I started talking to these girls who were sat behind me, I think, on the plane, and because they were like, "Are you on your own?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm actually on my own. Like, I missed my flight. Would you believe?" And they were like, "Oh my god." And there were two lovely girls from Wales that I think they were, Bronwyn and Grace. They were called.
Nice. And shout to Bronwyn and Grace.
Big up.
If this story's got a good ending.
Trust me, mate. We don't know where this is going yet.
Otherwise,
they are. They're angels.
Okay, got it.
So like, and it wasn't till like halfway on the flight, I was sort of racking my brain, feeling like quite stressed out. Like, how am I going to do it? It was quite late now as well because I had to wait in the airport for like probably 5 hours to get this next flight. So it was late, man. It was like we landed about 10 p.m. and I was like, I don't know whether I'm going to get a taxi or what. And yeah, like they started sort of say, I told them the story. They said, look, we've got a hire car at the airport, right? If you want, you can come with us. We're staying at a hostel in Stinjan and we're going to drive to Pula tomorrow. And I was like, you sure? And they were like, yeah, that's fine. So I jumped in the car, we went, and I ended up staying in the hostel with them. And then the next day we drove like all the way to Pula basically, and like stopped off. It was a wicked drive. Like we stopped off on the way, went for like a little swim in the lake and stuff, like, and then like carried on. Like and we stopped off and had this like side of the
You're
road.
leaving out details, Joe.
I swear down.
I'm a details man. You're leaving out details, Joe.
No, man, never tell.
Yeah, so what happened was I was talking to these girls on the plane, and then I got to the venue, man. Woo!
Yeah, I've just gone. Then I stayed at the hostel. Then we went for a swim. Like, no, actually, it was all legit, mate. We actually did pick up another couple of lads as well. These two guys who were gay, who like were at this. Yeah. So then it was all cool. It was all cool. Like, it was all sweet. There was a good mix of people in the car. Yeah. So we were all cruising. It was a full car. There was 5 of us, and they took us all the way to the festival. It was sweet, and like dropped me off at the place. I was a day late getting there, but eventually I got there, and it was just amazing. Yeah, man. Like when we landed, and then I got to play to like sort of 1,000 people, which was sweet. And yeah, that's
we see, like, how many, that's a metaphor for so many things, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're talking. I think the theme of this podcast should be one door closes, another one opens. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're looking at your job, we're looking at your childhood. There, we're looking at this COVID, and then you get into Pula, and
that's it, man. Like, do you know what I feel? It's so strange, right? I've just. Like, a lot of my friends wind me up about this. I've just considered myself very lucky. I've had a lot of like luck on my side through life, and I don't know why. Whether that's I don't know what the reason why that is. Like, I always try to do good. I always try to help people out where I can, and I'm a massive believer in karma. And for some mad reason, like, I've had a lot of struggles. I've had a lot of challenges in my life. And I've gone through some shit, as everyone does, right? You've got hurdles, you've got to jump over them. But I seem to like somehow always just land on my feet, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Like, it's sweet, man. I always kind of just try to, I don't know, just connect with people and be good, and like help out where possible. And that's it, mate. I've kind of just seemed to land. Like, when I've got myself in these weird, difficult situations, I just try and like speak to some people and somehow get myself out of it, or either that, or I'm just a really good blagger.
Well, it's probably a fair mix of everything, but like touching on that, I see some similarities in myself there, was what you describe, and the way I've sort of thought about it is. You're not going to get the opportunities if you don't want them. I'll tell you what I mean. Like, if you say I can't do that, you're right. Yeah. If you say I can do that, you're right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So either way, you're right. I can't do that. Yeah, probably, because you've already lost, right? You can't do it. You're right. Yeah, exactly. And then you go, I can do that, and you know what? You're right as well, because either way, you're right. So you picking the positive, the likelihood is if you just lift your head up, and look around, the opportunities are probably there. The people who can help you could just be sitting right behind you. Yes, exactly. That's, do you know what I mean? You could have been there going, or you could have been on that bus back to your car and back home to Reading going, I didn't do it. Right? Yeah, and this is why PMA is everything, man. Positive mental attitude, mate. Yeah, definitely. It absolutely is, because like you said, you've got some similarities, right? And we've always had a vibe, man. Even though we haven't spoke for about 6-7 years, like we said, like we've spoke every now and again on Facebook or whatever. But and we only knew each other 8 months, 8 months. That's it. But we've always had this vibe, and it's because you connect with the people that have that kind of positive manner. Do you know what I mean? And just people that have a vibe about them, mate. And I think it's important, even once again, get the cash ready, but in these crazy times, that like people do like try to just maintain this positive fucking vibe, because it's all we've got. It's either that, like, there's so much doom and gloom, and also try not to watch the news too much. That's the biggest advice, like, because it's like, the media is the worst for it, invoking fear in people. And
yeah, like I think you just need to try and not watch it too much. Do you know what I mean? And just speak to your friends and family and just stay positive. That is the best thing right now for everyone, isn't it? Like
That absolutely is the best thing.
that's
That
all we got to
absolutely is
do,
the best
mate.
thing.
That's all we've got to do right now, and things will
And
pass.
just make sure you keep a really good, healthy supply of toilet roll.
That's it.
And stay
That's
positive. You know, you don't
Bare
want
pasta,
to.
mad amounts of pasta. You know what I mean? Like,
They turned the water off. Sopping back on dry bare pasta. Yeah. Well, that happened, didn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like there was like a mad. I mean, the first time I took it seriously was when a friend of mine, he's an actuary in New York.
Yeah.
He was like, he just text the group chat, and he was like, guys, you know, you might want to just kind of like, just make a few little, just take a few little preparations and stuff like that, because this sort of COVID thing might
Really?
might be a little bit disruptive.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. So this was in sort of like early February.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, it came out and it was all around Europe and stuff like that. It was spreading out and stuff like that. And there was no real.
I know people. We were just fine about it, weren't we? I remember like everyone over here was just kind of like, yeah, this COVID thing's mad, but I think we're all right. It's not going to hit us.
In February, me and a group of my friends were in Hamburg, in Germany.
Really?
Yeah, when there was like cruise ships being like moored with people on there with coronavirus, getting like all sort of, you know, isolated and things like that. And hotels were closing because they had cases, or they were like going, right, you have to stay.
I remember that.
Everybody stay there, and I'm in this hotel in Hamburg with some friends, and well, the hotel sort of like, you know, quirk was that it used to be a brothel. Okay, used to be a brothel.
Right. Okay.
But that was its like charm. Do you know what I mean? It had like all these like really quirky rooms and what have you.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine a more unsanitary, seedy place. If I was ever going to get coronavirus, it was going to be in this place in Hamburg, and I just thought, oh my God, I cannot get stuck here. You know,
they'll have punters knocking on the door.
Yeah, I could get out of here.
Yeah.
Everything was like velvet velour, and it was like
mate.
just bacteria captures.
Like chaiselongs covered in COVID.
Yeah, as well as other things.
Terrible.
So Joe, what are we on? We're on about an hour and 10 minutes now, and let me ask you a couple of like silly questions. Like one thing I wanted to do in my other podcast was, which I was kind of alluding to, but it was like let's have a imagine a dinner party, right? Okay, so you got a 6-seater dinner party. You're sitting at the head of the table. Yeah. So what I want you to do is I want you to fill each of those seats. I want you to fill each of those plates with some meals, and then I want you to fill, you know, the glasses however you want to.
So I'm a waiter?
No, man. You're sitting at the head of the table. This is your dinner party.
Right. Okay. Oh, it's my party.
And then I want you to like tell me about what your perfect centerpiece in the middle of that table would be. So.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, I'm going to tell you how much of a psycho like maniac you are. No, you know, it is what it is.
Centerpiece? Do you mean like, as in like the food, the dish?
No. I mean like, so everybody's got their dishes, right? Yeah? So these are all foods that you like or enjoy or intrigued by or what have you.
Yeah.
All of the people are there, mean something to you or have something, you know, to do with you or what have you. They could be dead, alive, you know, the usual sort of thing. But in the centerpiece, like so normally, like if you have like a grand event or what have you, normally there's something in the center of the table. It could be a fruit basket, it could be a flower arrangement, but in our little experiment here, it could be something that's just in your head that you find that you'd like to see in the middle of all of this. All right,
fair. Right,
just do you know what keep it reasonably clean.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna say one thing, right? And the reason I say this was because it blew my mind when I saw it, right? And I think this, if I was, you mentioned it would be for my friends, right? And I think if I had my immediate friends there, it would just be like, wow, like what the hell is that? So, and it's relatively clean, all right? It's semi-clean.
Go for it, mate. Fill your boots. I'm only joking. Make it as filthy as you want.
No, so I went to Ibiza, right? It was my first time there, and I went to this club called Es Paradis, and they had these things that I've never seen before, which were like, it was like, like a Knickerbocker Glory.
Okay.
You know the Knickerbocker Glory.
Yeah,
glass?
with the bubble gum at the bottom.
Yep. So you know the glass that it comes in there, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's one of those, but in the glass in the middle.
Whoa! No, don't do it, Joe.
No, I'm straight out.
That sounds terrible.
No, it's still good. It's still good. No, it was huge. I mean, this thing was fucking huge. Like
too big to do what I'm thinking of.
Massive, mate.
Okay.
Life size. The human size, right? And in this massive Knickerbocker Glory glass, yeah, were two dancers who had clothes on. Don't worry, they had clothes on.
I prefer.
Right, but they were like, the usual kind of sexy dancers and stuff. But they had these massive snakes that were around them, right? Pythons, huge pythons that were like, and they were dancing kind of with these pythons, right? And I think actually thinking about it, like for the sort of party that I would have of that sort of caliber, right? We're going big on this thing, right? If we're having a centerpiece,
we're going as big as you want, mate.
Mate, let's go ham on it then. If we're gonna go that big, I reckon let's get the life-size Knickerbocker Glory glass. Let's get the two dancers in there with clothes on. Let's get the pythons around the neck. But the pythons were like dancing as well. They were like kind of coming out, and it was crazy.
Yeah, they're moving around and what have you. So this is like a conical shape, like.
Exactly.
So this is going to come to a point. So their feet are going to be. Was there like a little platform before?
No, it had like a seat. Yeah, it had like a little seat in, and they were kind of sat in it, but it kind of went down.
Okay. Yeah. So then they're just like maneuvering these snakes. That sounds awesome.
It was cool. It was really cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'd go for, mate. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can have some disco lights on there and stuff like that. All right.
Yeah, we'll light it up. Yeah.
All right. So fill those seats for me.
What do you mean?
Who's there with you?
Oh, what? Who's there?
Right, yeah, you're. So that's the centerpiece.
Right.
You've got a seat to. So you're sitting at the head of this table, right?
Yeah.
And you've got 5 seats to fill.
All right, 6. So I mean, we'd have to probably have. Do you know what? I've always wanted.
It's going to be like your next rave where everybody has to sit down. So So now we're getting creative.
So, do you know who it was? I'd love to have Seth Rogen there. I think he's a proper character. He's a joker, absolute joker, mate. So let's get him down just purely for the jokes, right?
Yeah. Maybe he can bring some of his products with him.
Yeah. We'll get him to bring some products. Yeah,
okay.
Why not?
Because he's got a new company now, hasn't he? He's got a new business venture.
Is that the CBD thing?
Yeah. Apparently, he's got the high grade.
The high grade, yeah, he loves that. So I think he's a helpful guy to have at that sort of party, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah, so he's in charge of catering.
Yeah, he can do the catering. And who we got? Let's have we've got to have some music there, right? So let's get Fatboy Slim because he can be doing some of the DJing afterwards. We'll get him on it. Like he's my man. He's probably, even though I'm a drum and bass man, I reckon he's probably my idol. He's the reason I'm in drum and bass.
Yeah. He's pretty good. What's his real name? Norman?
Norman Cook.
Norman Cook, that's it.
Norman Cook, yeah. I'd probably have like. It's actually a really hard question, when you put me on the spot like this.
Yeah.
It is. I'd probably have. I'm trying to think of the females who I'd get involved now. You know what I mean? Some absolute.
Yeah, because you can't have too many dicks on the dance floor, right?
That's what I'm saying, man. Too many, man. Too many man.
We need some more girls in here.
Exactly. We need some queens up in this bitch. Who are we going to have? Right, so do you know what? It's probably going to be, I've actually forgotten her name, but the one that was in Suicide Squad. What's her name?
Oh, Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn. What's the...
I don't know. She's crazy though, isn't she?
Oh my gosh. Margot.
Okay.
Margot Robbie.
Okay. Yeah, she'd be
Let's get her down.
anarchy in there, wouldn't she?
Let's get Margot down. Yeah, she has to come as Harley Quinn though.
Okay, yeah. I'd stick her in the Knickerbocker Glory.
She can dive in there afterwards. Yeah, definitely. And she's gonna dive in there, right, with Angelina Jolie, but when she played Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Lara Croft, yes, Joe.
Yeah, has to be.
Yes, Joe. Okay.
So she's going to be in there. I think that's
exactly where she should have been in there.
I think that's a good little mix-up, Angelina and Margot. Yeah. So we'll get those in there. How many is that?
You got one more, bro. You got Norman Cook. You got Seth Rogen. You got Margot. You've got Jolene.
All right, that's cool. So Seth's bringing the jokes. We've got Norman bringing the party. We've got the girls bringing the sass. And then we've got, I don't know, I just need someone that's maybe got some interesting chat, you know. Do you know what? Someone older, actually, because they're going to have some stories. So I'm thinking, you ain't coming to this party, bro.
Oh man, you know what? I thought it was Christmas morning, man, and I thought that present was the shape of a bike, and I was like,
"You're coming to the next one. You're coming to the reload." Yeah, but no. Do you know what? I would have Robert De Niro, mate.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah, he's an excellent actor, mate. He's probably one of my favorite actors, and I reckon he would have some insane stories, like from his
good actor
world of all of the gangster films. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a bit of a legend. Yeah, man, that's a nice little gang.
I like it. That's
all
right. Well, there's two more things you're going to fill in there, but you know, maybe we should have done these first. But what are they eating? So what do we got? We got favorite meal.
Yeah, I think
with nighttime clubber, we're probably looking at filling them all up with some kebabs and that, right?
Yeah, no, mate, I fucking hate that stuff. I'm actually really into my I mean, bearing in mind, you know, I did go on a trip to Le Manoir when we worked together.
Oh, indeed. Oh, was that the one with the magician?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
That was quite jokes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got video of that.
Did you?
Somewhere, yeah. He did a trick on me. He put a fucking coin underneath my watch and like did this trick, and then he was like, "Have a look underneath your watch." And I was like, "It better not be under my watch, man."
That was a cool day out, actually. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the only time we're ever going to get to eat food like that. But like,
yeah, when somebody else is paying for it, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'll have you know, mate, I'm actually a bit of a culinary wizard out here. All right.
I like that.
So, yeah. I'd probably go for I'd get a hog roast, mate.
A hog roast?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love a hog roast.
What are we talking? White bumps and applesauce?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, loads of crackling. You know. Good lot of Bramley applesauce, and then just kind of a good mix of sides, you know. Get some honey drizzled carrots, all that stuff. You know, probably a bit of collie cheese.
Oh,
bit of collie cheese. All of the rich stuff, you know.
Yeah.
All the rich foods. Although I'm a big fan of Japanese food, so maybe we'll have a starter of some Japanese kind of street food vibes.
A starter, mate. Yeah.
Street food vibes, and then we'll go into
teppanyaki.
Yeah, man. Yeah. A couple of kung pao.
Okay. Do that.
Yeah, no,
but you've only got five seats though, yeah. So old kung pao, he's gonna have to like, you know, I don't know, he's gonna have to do something.
He'll get in the Knickerbocker Glory with the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Slippery little fucker.
Okay.
Yeah, what they drinking, Joe?
I'm drinking rum and Red Bull. No, they're gonna have we're gonna start with some you know, we'll probably go straight in, mate, with some rum and coke. I think that's my absolute go-to, like a little bit of the Cuba Libre sort of vibe. Either that or some mojitos, probably a bit of a mix-up.
Love a mojito, man. Do you ever have the spiced rum? Do you ever have like spice?
Okay.
Yeah.
I love spiced rum, mate. Yeah, that's my go-to.
I have one in your honour after this.
Good man.
Yeah.
My G.
Man.
Yeah, like that. And I love tequila, mate. So we'll have the shots going around later into the night, you know. Big fan of tequila. And then maybe, you know, end of the night, little espresso martini, something like that.
Cheeky.
It's just a little finisher.
Yeah, mate, that sounds fantastic.
You'd want to be there, wouldn't you?
I want to come to that party. I'm
You wanna come
gutted
to
I'm
the
not
party?
even
That's fine.
invited.
Yeah, a lot, as I said, there'll be a reload.
I'll tell you what, mate, just put it on Facebook Live or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how you live my life anyway. So yeah, you can do that.
I'm not going to be losing out.
One day we'll meet in person, mate. Again, we'll actually have a beer when this is all bloody done.
That is definitely going to happen.
Yeah,
That's definitely going to happen, mate. That's definitely going to happen. Either I'm going to just like sort of weasel my way into one of your gigs, or stand behind you in the DJ.
Of course, man. Yeah, mate. As soon as it's on, come backstage. We'll do it.
Giving it some of that.
Yeah.
Switch the knob.
Yeah. Jump on the
Stand
mic.
back. Jump on the mic. I'm going to jump on the mic, mate.
Yes, mate.
Definitely. I'm
MC
going to drop
Malowney.
my General Levy.
Yeah, that's it. Incredible.
Got to do all of that. Joe, anything else that you would like to tell me about, discuss, drop an opinion on, or anything like that, pal? What else is going on?
Man. I mean, this has been my first podcast, so it's gone quite well actually. Like I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
how are you on like? Where are you on like social media and stuff like that at the moment? Yeah, I know it's causing a lot of pain for some people. It's causing, it's a lifeline for others.
So social media. I mean, it's a difficult one for me. Social is my life because it's my work. So being a marketing manager, I have to look after social media for 3 record labels, as well as my own brand, New Base Order, as well as looking after the social messages that are going out from all of our artists on their music. So I'm advising on a lot of different tactics, as well as kind of looking at what's going on with the competition and the market, and also trying not to get distracted too much by all of the the hype that's going on. Like Facebook in particular has become a pretty nasty place now. I feel like all of the content on my newsfeed has changed to like a lot of hate stuff, and it's mainly either political like messages, or just like invoking fear, as I said, around the virus, or stuff to do with like racism or sexism, or like it's just like constant stuff that you would initiate argument or debate about, and I don't think that's healthy. Like, it's not nice. I think if Facebook was to just dissolve, then actually the world would probably be a happier place. But I can't say that because I am absolutely 100% reliant.
You need it.
Yeah, to get it.
And you want it. And I mean, one of the things, like, that's a really interesting point, because that is exactly what's happened, hasn't it? It's gone from sort of showing puppies and new kitchens and things like that to actually some really, it's gone into a really dark place. But I sort of look at it like this, right? So you've got we all know how to we don't all know how to program a computer, but if I was programming a computer, I'm going to use binary language. Yeah. So I'm going to use a 0 or a 1. Yeah. So it's a on or it's a positive or it's a negative. Yeah. It's a right or it's a wrong. Okay. Yeah. And that's the only answer people accept, so it's like a bastardization of a binary language. So they're thinking like, it's you're either with us or you're against us. Do you know what I mean? But even the binary computer program uses a blend. It might have a 0, a 1, and then another 0. Of course, it might have a 0, a 1, and then another 1. Yeah. So even in its binary construct, it's still blending the nuance within its computer language, right? And we're not getting that. We're not getting that nuance. We're sort of going, Black Lives Matter. Oh, but all lives matter. And then you're going, but fuck you, because Black Lives Matter. And no, fuck you, because all lives matter, right? Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, you're on a computer screen and you're on a social media network, and nobody gets really where you're coming from or really what you mean, and that there's this huge plume of grey that it kind of extrapolates from, and you're just left to think, well, it's like
What's
when you
going on?
read a text message from your missus and she goes, "Yeah, I'm fine," or or like, "Are you still out?" And you think, "Well, what does she mean? Am I
Yeah,
still
it's like,
out?"
actually, you don't mean that.
Right?
Yeah.
There's just a ton of nuance
I
behind
know.
it.
Yeah, you
You know?
can't make anything from it, mate. And also, what actual good is it doing for that whole movement? It's like, it's not like I get the, the content that was great was the actual photos of some of the marches and all that sort of stuff that's going out. People actually out on the streets doing shit, like that's going to get the message across, right? But when it's just like a post and then you get all of these comments, right? And it's people going, like what you said, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, just trying to
And
shit on each other's like
yeah, and
mess.
it gets quite nasty, man. And that is what Facebook's horrible for. Whereas like places like Instagram, you get less of that, I think. Instagram, I think, is actually a slightly better place. But then in other areas, it's not, because people still suffer from a lot of mental health issues due to all of the selfies that go up, and people get self-conscious about how they should look because of filters and because they're trying to look like the next selfie
Yeah.
model or something that's going up. Do you know what I mean? So social media in general, man, it's not healthy. The way I would say, coming from someone that's worked in it and has managed social media for 15 plus years, like every day, the way that I would say to get around it and to ensure some sort of positive mind from it is to definitely make sure you have breaks, like put your phone off, or put your phone down and turn your notifications off, is something that I do quite a lot in like times in the evening, to make sure that you have at least 3 hours off or something. That's for someone who works in social media, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I have to do that just so that I like actually have my time to just put something on TV or go for a walk or go to the gym or like do whatever. Do you know what I mean? So that you are getting that break. That's really key. And just don't read into stuff so much, on social media, and try not to, as I said earlier, like try not to avoid, just try not to pay attention to all of the media that's going on, especially right now, because it's just so like, it's just like mind numbing. So I think one good thing is that everyone's kind of getting out more in terms of like going for walks and doing more active stuff like that they weren't doing before. I think that's the best thing that's come from this, really. People seem to be a bit more healthy. Do you know what I mean? They're looking after themselves more, and that's all we can do really at the moment, isn't it? So yeah, man, like that's probably the one thing I could say, I guess, to finish it up on that sort of note. Like,
on that social media spiral vortex of doom.
It's a fucking evil place, man. But like, it's not going anywhere. That's the thing. It's also a really useful tool, if it's used in the right way. And we need to learn to.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm a prime example. Here I am, I guess I'm a late adopter of it to many respects, but I need it, and I know that there's going to be some comments. I know there's going to be some people out there who just want to say some shit.
Bring it on.
You know what I mean? I like to think about. I wonder what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
I wonder if that person's going to be. I wonder if that's
it. Like, and you know what? That's the way. Like, you just got to accept that you're never going to please everyone in this world. And I overthink stuff, mate. I'm a terrible overthinker. Like, I'm awful for it. And when I'm writing these posts and I'm putting out copy of stuff, I sometimes have to be the voice of the label, and one label is different to another label, so I have to get the tone right. And if I'm going out from one of the artist pages, then I sometimes draft up some of the text that will go out as that artist. You know what I mean? So constantly trying to get the tone right, and I constantly think, what if people don't like that, or what if they don't like that, or what if someone perceives it as that message, or like that's read in the wrong way.
That's the artist, right? That's the artist's kind of done.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes it gets to the point where you just go, do you know what? Bang, let's just get it out there.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to please everyone.
No.
And, it's the same in life, isn't it? Like, once you start understanding yourself and stuff, like, it's a whole confidence thing, really. You've just got to kind of accept in your life that you're never going to please everyone, I think, and just learn to kind of love yourself, really. And as long as you do that and you can try and just be nice and crack on with stuff, then you'll go far, and you'll kind of find some sort of happiness, I think. Do you know what I mean? Just yeah, like, accept you're never going to please everyone, crack on, like, and that goes for like life as well as social media and stuff. Like, don't read into shit too much, man. Don't try and be the person that you're not. Like, don't build a fake life on social media that people are going to love. Like, try and put your phone down and connect in the real world.
Look, I think there's I think there's so much to that. I think one way that somebody recently put it was, he was talking about his own life, right? And he was talking about how he sort of like shook off the shackles that were kind of holding him down. You know, one of the decisions that he made was to stop asking permission.
Yep, that's
just to kind of stop asking permission, stop going, do you know, would it be okay if I do you think that it would be acceptable if I, you know what I mean? And it was kind of like, do you know what, right? Am I ever going to go and do this thing if I keep having to ask someone's permission?
Yeah, that's the great
if I'm going to do it. Do you know what I mean? So it's just the case of like, and I think what you're saying there is a recognition of kind of like, actually, do you know what, sometimes you just got to do things and just go, that was 100% me.
Yeah, exactly. Just accept it, and get it out there and just crack on. Don't try and be someone you're not, you know, just do you. Basically. It's important. Like, you know, you just got to kind of just got to do you, mate, always, and don't let anyone kind of get in your way of that, and don't let comments affect you and sort of like get you down, you know.
I think that's really good. So it'll be interesting to see what the next year brings, what the next 2, 5, 10 years brings.
Absolutely,
Joe, but what I would like to think is that we will forever hold a connection, and I'll be right behind you, mate. You know, banging that drum. Man. I'll be right in your corner for everything that you do, pal.
Likewise, mate. Yeah, no, honestly, thank you so much for kind of making this happen, man. It's been really sweet. Like, as I said, I've never done a podcast before, and I was well chuffed when you reached out to me. So like, it's nice that we've been able to keep this relationship down, man. Even though, as I said, we haven't seen each other for like 8 years, mate. Like, it's sweet that the friendship's still there. Do you know what I mean? Like, the broship's still there, brother.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. The broship never dies. The broship never sinks.
Trust me. Exactly. But yeah, mate. No, it's been great, man. Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah, I think the future's. I think everything will be okay. I think everything's going to be okay, man. You know, I think we're gonna roll through this. The creative people are going to create, and everyone's gonna need that outlet.
I mean, look, one great thing that's going to come from all this is we are going to see a hell of a lot of incredible music coming out next year, because everyone's just been locked up. You know what I mean? Getting creative in the studio. Like, I know some people have struggled to find a bit of inspiration, but generally, most people I've been speaking to have loads of music like that they've been working out on, locked up, ready to go.
Yeah.
So of all different types and shapes and sizes and genres.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm going to have to get you to send me a few bangers, because my Spotify playlist is like, it's dead. It's dead, Joe. It's dead. Like, it's pissing me off. It's annoying me. Do you know what I mean? I get a song come on and I'm like, oh, not this one again.
Yeah, I hear you.
I need to hear something new. Send me some bangers, man.
Of course, bro. Yeah, I can do that, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah. Wicked. And I think, you know, more power to you, bro. More power to you.
You too, man. Likewise, mate.
Right. So I'm gonna. I guess we'll leave it there. So, you know, that's Joe Robinson. I hope you enjoyed the interview today, and I hope you like the video, subscribe, and tick the notification bell, and do all those fancy pants things that you need to do in order to stay in touch with the Philip Malowney podcast. So have a wonderful evening, everybody, and take care.